Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks, when or wherever you may be. Now, as you can see by the title of the video, today we are going to talk about the tactics that the authoritarian regimes have been pushing, and to tell you that this is nothing new. Okay, let's start. Number one, I choose to call these types of tactics authoritarian regimes because any ideology can be authoritarian. If they identify as right wing, if they identify as left wing, if they associate themselves to a particular, sorry, pardon, let me rephrase this. If they associate themselves with any particular religion or cultural or ethnicity, uh, whatever they do, the the type of tactics that they use are always the same. And you can see it by just looking at any any videos that portray their tactics, then that denounce their stupidity, that denounce their lies, that denounce their lack of logic. You just take a look, just take a look at the comment sections of one of my videos, and you will see a couple of trolls, the ones that I have not covered up, and they are always using the same type of narratives. Because you see, authoritarians presume that you are stupid. It's as simple as this, okay? They work in the same type of framework as they do with their ignorant support bases. They suppose that you are an idiot that will believe in their twisting of the facts. You know, they are going to tell you that you don't have a job because of the immigrants. They are going to tell you don't have a house because of the immigrants. Or they are going to blame, I don't know, blame the Jews, blame the Christians, blame the Muslims, blame whoever they want to blame, okay? You have to understand that the narrative is always the same. And it's really annoying, you know, because it's always the same shit, okay? Hitler blamed the Jews, okay? Stalin blamed the Jews and he blamed the capitalists. There is always someone to blame for your own issues and your own shortcomings. And a government that wants to rule, that wants to dominate, the first thing that they do is that they try to crop out the opposition. And the opposition are all those that are able to see through their narrative, okay, and tell them that they are wrong. You see Trump doing this in the United States right now. You see this with the goals of APEC in Europe and in other places in the world, in South America with Milei, wherever they can go. Okay, you see these narratives, you see these tactics, and what you have to understand is this. And I'm going to be crystal clear about this so that you can understand exactly what I'm going to say. Okay? Democracies are not perfect. No, they are not perfect. And I'm going to tell you now another thing that you also need to know, which is democracies should not be perfect. Why? Because democracies need to adapt to the world. This is the difference between an authoritarian regime and a democratic regime. The democratic regime adapts in a way that life or the life of people gets better progressively. Authoritarian regimes want to keep a society at a predetermined threshold, level, whatever you want to call it, type, because that is a place where they can dominate and they can impose their own worldview. A democracy is dangerous for an authoritarian regime because we see, just like in democracy, we see the errors and the shortcomings of our governments. As I said, yesterday I striked because I felt like I had to do it because some of the policies my government is taking are not appropriate. So I don't believe in them. So I strike alongside with thousands of people in my country. Okay, I striked. And I would strike again, because strike is the last resort of the working class. And I'm proud to be in the working class because we keep the economy running, not the government. But that is a subject for another video. I was also explaining to you that, for example, here, what the government is doing is not perfect, so we strike. So we protest. So we call them out. So we show them where they are wrong. We ask for explanations and we ask for solutions. You want to know what the right wing does? They turn that normalcy of changing and protesting in a democratic state and they call them out as the failures of democracy. Okay, Hitler did this with the Weimar Republic. And he was right that the Republic was not being able, was not being able to solve the problems of the German post-World War One economy. He was right. But what he didn't tell you is this. He did not want to work with the Republic to make the state a better place for everyone. He wanted to achieve power. So he started undermining it. And now we have to go back into that period and we also have to call out the other actors that were doing exactly the same thing. The communists were doing exactly the same thing. If Germany had not fell into a right-wing dictatorship, it would have fallen under a left-wing dictatorship. And this is something very uncomfortable that people don't like to talk about. But this is the truth. Left wings are as dangerous as right wings when it comes to extreme policies. This is why we have to reject demagogues of any kind. You have to reject religious zealots. You have to reject left wing and right wing zealots. Zealots are dangerous for society. You need people that are moderated, people that are working for the well-being of the state. This is why when some people criticize the immigration control policies and all of that, and then someone appears in the comment sections and calling you a fascist or a conservative or this or that, I tell them to fuck off. Because that is not what I'm saying. Number one, I don't consider people as numbers. I don't have the notion of legal and illegal to me is a law distinction, sorry. Meaning there are ways to enter into a country and to ask for asylum or to ask to work and live in that country. There are legal routes to do it. And in Europe, we have those legal routes. So whoever is here, and I'm going to talk about my country, in that they are not legal, they should not be here. Get out and then apply. Because we have also routes for political asylum, for religious asylum seekers. We have a bunch of them right here. People that were received, they asked for the help of protection of the Portuguese state, and they received it. So there is no justification for that. And the quicker we understand this and the quicker we have adequate policies to solve these issues, the better. Now, I'm going to go now to a particular aspect that I'm going to make probably a stream or a video about it. But whenever any decision comes out of the European Union, whenever they come to speak about how much money we, for example, right now, in this situation, that we lost 22 billion euros in 44 days because of the actions of the United States in Israel, in Iran, whenever they come out and we are going to, and then they say, we are going to do this and that, and they start doing it, you hear the same words. They talk, and they do nothing. They talk, and they... Fuck off. I see it working. I see it being applied. The EES system, it wasn't working. So they delayed it. Right now, it's working. Why did they delay it? Because there were countries that were not prepared physically, meaning with the necessary means at the airports, at the borders, to implement it. It didn't fail. It didn't. It's because it was delayed. It's not a failure. And what you have to understand is this: ever since this entire thing started, what the EU said they were going to do, they did. And it's not because it wasn't in that moment that it failed. And people need to understand this. These people will use, for example, I don't know, Ursula von der Leyen comes out and says, we are going to send 100 million euros to 19 billion euros right now to Ukraine. And then Hungary and the dear former leader, Mr. Orban, blocks that money by vetoing it. And then the EU has to decide what they are going to decide, that we are going to simply apply a qualified majority to supply that money. They take that and say, look, they were talking, and they didn't do nothing. Why? They know, whoever is feeding that narrative knows that in a democracy things work by accord. Parties that have different positions meet at the middle and decide a common solution for their issue. And then they say, the old narrative, they should have decided like this and like that. That is the authoritarian mindset. And it feeds on a society that is used to having everything at the minute. I don't blame anyone except ourselves, our societies, because we are expecting for things to happen in the minute. And that is not how the real world works. I don't like very much Mr. Starmer, but he is doing things that are very important for the future of the United Kingdom. And you see the APEC and the right-wing policy, right-wing supporters in the United States and the Russians supporting Farage. Now I think they are drifting to Rupert Lowe, which is even dumber and even more extreme than Farage. You see them feeding them using the media companies that they bought in the United Kingdom. And the union is at stake because of that. The union is not just at stake because Keir Starmer had a couple of politics. Minute, please. Excuse me. Because the union is not at stake because Keir Starmer took a couple of measures that are damaging to Scotland and to the union. That is not the only reason. That, you can call it, he did not do the right thing and we need to correct it. Or Scotland needs to be independent, whatever position you support. But what I want you to see is the narrative that is behind all of that. They have been continuously harassing the Labour government to do everything at the same time. And then you have a person that is now just picking up the pieces, so to speak, and doing something that he should have done a long time, and that is seeing what is happening, and that is trying to reapproach with the EU, with Europe, with the rest of Europe, because they are seeing what is being done. And this will take time. I don't know if you will politically survive because of the type of politics that exists in the United Kingdom. But what I would tell any British person, I would tell them to vote Green or vote Liberals or whatever. I would tell you to vote anyone except those right-wing extremists and the Tories, because the Tories are the same thing. All right, my cat. Sorry. Okay. Uh, and you have to understand that these people, they use the shortcomings of democracy to justify authoritarian regimes. For example, going back to the first examples that I gave, they use the fact that you are not able to get a house or get a job, blaming the immigrants and saying things like they come here and they have houses and whatever, when they arrive without nothing into your country, when I'm talking about political asylum seekers, and they have to be put somewhere, and the state has to pay it, and then the state preferentially should be as quick as possible to either accept the claims of those people or send them back to a safe country or to wherever they went. And in the case of the UK blocked those exit routes because the UK, led by Mr. Boris Johnson and Mr. Farage in the background burning the bridges, they did not make a single plan to solve this situation. And you want to know why? Because this way they have something to throw at any government that comes after them. Migrants, small boats, all of this is being, and the economic problems that the UK has been facing since Brexit, all of this is being used to prop them up to government. They promise you this, they promise you that, and you want to know what you are going to get in the end of it? You are going to get the jackpot to the face. And you are going to say nothing. You are going to say, "Sir, thank you, sir. Can I get some more? Thank you, sir." This is exactly the same saying the right-wing extremists in the United States want. They want slaves. They want peasants. They don't want citizens. They call democracy confusion because they don't understand it. They don't understand that when a government falls, it's a sign democracy is functioning. It's like a self-preserving organism. It continues to evolve. It removes what is not doing their proper function inside of the organism. Whenever I see MPs in the parliament discussing things and reaching agreements, I am happy. This means government is working. Whenever I see people striking and forcing the government to come to terms with what other people are asking for and negotiate, I am happy, even if I lose a day of pay, because this means democracy is working. I'm sorry. She just comes into the room and she asks for cuddles. Okay. This is what you have to understand, okay? Don't let yourself fall. Look, if you're an American, you will hear the same. You will hear, first of all, the news that you are being fed. At least if you only watch Fox News, it's lies, and it's not complete lies. Okay, they simply omit and they distort the real thing. For example, Iran declared that the straits were open. And your president says he opened the straits. Your president is agreeing with the terms of peace proposed by Iran. And he's saying he's imposing the terms of peace to Iran. This is a very look. It's like look. I'll give you a very simple example. It's like someone that gets his ass kicked in a fight, and then the other guy or girl, whatever, the other guy goes away, and then he says, "I hit my head into his fist so many times that he gave up." This is the same logic. This is exactly the same logic, and you have look. If you're an American, if you're a Republican voter, and you vote for the Republicans because they apparently defend sayings in which you believe in, okay, I want you to take a good hard look at this government. Sorry. I want you to take a hard look at this government and see what they are defending. You have a defense minister, sorry, a war minister, or whatever the fuck he is, quoting a false Bible verse from Pulp Fiction. You have a president that is continuously on his phone sending out the weirdest messages, crashing the market, making your life miserable, breaking alliances, insulting allies, causing issues and problems that will endure in the United States decades after he is gone, that has been accused, and I will emphasize this part, accused of being a pedophile, of such odd things as cannibalism and murder. And I will emphasize again because I am very clear about this. To me, guilty until proven in a court of law. Okay? Oh, sorry, innocent until proven in a court of law. Sorry. English is not my first language, okay? But this person is accused of all of those things. He acts in a way that I can only describe as unfit for a president. He acts with others, he acts with foreign dignitaries, he acts with the world as a toddler that you would spank him. You would give him a spank and put him in the corner until he behaved. This is the person that you have as your president. This is the person you are defending. And the second thing I'm going to tell you is this. If you defend those actions, if you defend that person, then you are exactly the same as he is. And if now you are repented because you supported him, because it's hitting you personally, you are still like him. And those types of excuses, they don't look. No one has to be held and welcomed back. And this does not mean having any kind of schadenfreude. This means having logic. You did what you did. You supported who you supported. Now you have to assume the guilt and the consequences of your actions. You have to assume that you have family members that don't want to talk with you and that will probably never trust you again. This has happened with me. I have friends and family members that I forgave them, but the relationship was never the same. I said I forgave them just to end the conversation. But I see it and they see it that it's not the same. There is always the distance. Because like the British say, I think, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And this is exactly the situation the United States is going to face if they are able to get rid of the current government, the current administration, and elect someone that will be decent or at least normal. The United States is going to face the exact same situation. Do you think Europe is not going to try to charge the money that we have been losing with all of this shit? Do you think your allies in the Middle East are not going to try to do it in the Gulf states? They are not going to try to do the same thing. Your minister, whatever the hell he is, Besson, he's just tried to have China release a part of their strategic oil reserves that they have been buying from Russia and from Iran. I think 90% of Iranian oil, to lower gas prices. And China said no. Are you surprised? I am not. Europe, as we speak, is negotiating with Canada to start and replace completely what the oil, the oil and the gas that we are buying from you know, the Americans, with Canadian oil. And simultaneously, we are even talking with Venezuela. And you don't see absolutely nothing in the news in your country. And you see the right-wing rhetoric. They talk, they do nothing. I have started to see the effects of it. For example, those art products that used to come, but in Portugal it's a bit different, different in Spain, because we have a close connection with the southern American countries, Portugal with Brazil and Argentina, and Spain also a bit with Brazil and with the other Spanish-speaking countries in South America. But even so, I have started to see South American products appear in our shelves, replacing products that used to come, I'd say, for example, from the United States. I have started to see Canadian products. It used to be very hard to find Canadian maple syrup. I like it, but I can't eat it because I cannot digest it, okay? It's not very good for me. I liked it. I used to like to put it in my pancakes or in my crepes, whatever, but it doesn't fit with me. But I still buy it for my family, okay? But I started to see a lot of that. I started to see Canadian and South American companies coming into the market and working with our companies also and investing and doing whatever. And meanwhile, you hear the talking heads of the right wing repeating the same narrative. They are doing nothing. They are doing nothing. So the EU-Mercosur agreement is working. The Canada-EU agreement is working. And it's functioning. But things are not immediate. I keep telling you, we are lazy, okay? We are lazy and spoiled. Understand things take time to be built. You cannot have an immediate solution for all of the problems. Am I worried? Of course I'm worried. We need to get jet fuel. We need to get fuel to put in our cars. We need all of that, okay? And I'm seeing them working for it. I'm not seeing crazy people and talking right-wing heads saying, the doom is near, the doom is near. You want to know what? Oh, look, when I read some people saying, I see some people put the comments and they say, this guy is going to get annoyed at this, and then he's going to respond in a way that we can report him or something like that. No. First of all, number one, my videos have a warning that I'm going to swear in these videos. Number two, they are not monetized. And number three, they are not directed at children. They even have that little not for children. So, anyone that comes into this channel and listens to me is as a fair warning that I sometimes will swear, because this is the way I talk. I use it as a tool to emphasize a position. I'm not out here sitting down and insulting people. I know the legal boundaries of that. I know I can use it as an exclamation, but I cannot use it as a direct aggression at someone out of context. So I will say trolls are idiots because they are. But these people, they try to say that they are talking, they are doing nothing. Look, my friends, let me put things in very clear. I saw the practical effects of the EU in my country because I grew up on them, with them. Starting with my early teens until now, I have seen the effects of the EU in my country. I saw a country that was around 40 years behind the rest of Europe. It was even, and it still has its issues. Let's not forget that. But every country has its issues, and they will always have them. Okay, there is no perfection obtained. But I saw my country change into what it is today. I saw beaches you could not go to getting cleaned, and right now almost all the beaches here in Portugal, they have a blue flag. This means they are completely safe for being used, and some of them even have a brand of excellence. I saw corruption being cleaned up of the government structure. Not perfect, we still have them, we still jail them, but it works. I saw all of that, and then I have some talking head trying to convince me that the EU is doing nothing when I see the effect every day. Ask the Brits, the honest ones, the honest British citizens, ask them how they are going, how their business is going, how many little businesses, for example, got crashed by Brexit, the effect it has had in the economy and in the social component. Ask them, but I ask the honest ones. I'm not talking about reform talking heads, because those are idiots. And this I say without any kind of doubt. Anyone that goes into a ballot and puts the X in the reform reform vote is an idiot. I don't care how well intentioned you are. I don't care if you think Labour is the same. No, okay, you don't want to vote for Labour. Yes, I understand it. As I said when I was talking about Starmer, he now is trying to do something, but he was also a bit of a disappointment to me because he didn't do immediately what he should have done. That he is trying to do now, and I don't know if it will save him from the next elections or not. I really don't know, but again, subject for another video. But you don't want to vote in them. Vote Green. Vote in Zach Polanski. Give him a chance. Is he perfect? No. And I also have my personal doubts about him. But vote for him. Vote for Lib Dems. Vote for anyone. You just don't put your vote in Reform and in the Tories. Or any of those lunatics. You have to understand this and understand it quickly. Your country, your union, United Kingdom, your union, it will only change if you make an effort for it. No one is going to present you with the magical solutions for your problems. As I said before in other videos, the United Kingdom cannot return to the customs union, but it can have a customs union with the EU. This is a concept a lot of people have to understand. The United Kingdom can accept conditions. It can ask for conditions if it has enough need for it and negotiate with the EU. For example, I don't know. You want to protect British beef, So you will limit the quotas of beef that is imported from Europe. This is a possible saying, okay. This is all possible. For example, you want to export your vegetables into the EU. Then you comply with the EU regulations on the matter. This is all simple sayings. But these are sayings that if Mr. Starmer does this quickly, as he should, because this is my personal opinion, the first thing that Mr. Starmer should have done when he reached power is to sit down, give a big press conference with international agencies to blot up the right wing idiots, and tell them these simple words: my friends, Brexit is not working, it's a failure, and we cannot return to the EU, at least not now. So we are going to have to negotiate with the EU ways of improving the conditions of our economy and of our country. Simple as this. Honesty is much better than lies. I always say this. I prefer a harsh truth than an honest lie. I prefer people in the EU, not like the talking heads were saying. I prefer people in the EU to say what they are doing and to tell me right to the face, this is going to have consequences, okay? We are going to have to endure difficulties because of it. But we are doing this because it will give this and this and this result. Because things take time to be built. This is a very bad example, but look at China. They have been biting their time. Now, after all of this mess is over, they are going to get all that they want. They are going to get trade. They are going to get political influence. They already have it. And they are going to undermine the position of the United States, because for China it's much better to have a lot of mid powers than to have a block in the other side. Because I have this feeling that at least President Xi has understood that superpowers only cause super problems. The United States should have, I will tell you this, the United States superpower, I'm not talking about the country, it should have been dismantled after the end of the Soviet Union. It should have returned to its position and not be the police of the world. This is, and I have said this in another video, it was also laziness from the rest of the world. And I'm including Europe in this. Have no doubts about it. Because unlike the right wing lunatics, or as I said in the beginning of the video, it's much more adequate to call them this, unlike the authoritarian right wing, yeah, most of them are right wing, but okay. Right now, in the past, you had left wing. Even here in Portugal, we had left wing authoritarians after the revolution. Another story. But unlike what the authoritarians say, okay, it's much better to recognize your own errors and correct them. This is the nature of democracy, as I explained it to you. Unlike them, I say we recognize that this problem exists. Let's write it down, let's learn from it, and let's advance. And when this is over, I'm going to be very honest with you. This is my, call it my Nostradamus prediction. When all of this shit is past, you will find that even the United States will change. Even Russia will change. Because change is inevitable. The world always changes. It always changes. Nothing stays the same. Just like a person is born, gets old, and dies, the exact same happens to everything that walks or crawls in this bloody world. And this is scary for a person, for an individual that has his own ego, that has his own conscience of existing, and that sees their world around them change. You want to know what we can do? Adapt it and try to change to better things and not bad things. This is the only thing you can do. Look, it if you are a zealot Christian and you were used to a world where gay people were bashed, where transgender were demons and all of that, you have to understand that doesn't work in this world. What can you do? Number one, stop doing it. Like I said in other videos, you don't like gay people, you don't like transgender people, okay, then stop meddling into their business. Why should you care about what these people do in their own personal lives? Why? I'm honestly asking this question. Why would you need why would you need to know these things? This is another part of the right wing, in this case it's more the right wing rhetoric. Talking about transgender mafias and all of that. Uh, are you do you really don't know that transgender is a medical condition? It's basically I saw a look. I think if you search this in YouTube, this video will appear. A Swiss doctor that spent many years studying transgender people brain. It's an old video, but it explains everything in a scientific point of view, but in a clear speech that you can understand. That man spent decades studying the brain of transgender people that offer their bodies to science after their death. And you want to know what he discovered? He discovered a genetic aberration. And in this sense, you have to understand this is a medical term. Okay? I'm not insulting anyone for having a genetic aberration. Okay? Nothing like that. A genetic aberration means when there is an error in the genetic composition of someone that causes their body to develop in a different way. And he discovered that males that identify themselves as females, they had female brain structures. And he discovered that women, females, that wanted to be men had male brain structures. It's scientific, it's science, and it's medical. And it's a minority. It's, look, in the old days, these people used to be just gay. Right now, science allows them to actually change their physiology to assume what they want. You don't have to agree with it, you don't have to like it, you only have to not meddle with it. It's a medical subject. Stop calling these people sinners. Or, they want to turn all the kids into transgender. What the hell are you talking about? You only know what you like, so to speak, when you reach puberty, when your body starts to change. That is the critical moment. I know a lot of people are going to tell me, no, it's there are people that ever since they were little children, they identify in this and that. No, I'm talking about really knowing it. And as for gay people, well, it's what they like. I like redheads and Asians. Okay, this is a bloody example, a very quaint, a very simple example. All right, but do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I also like uh, strawberry chocolate ice cream. Some people like vanilla chocolate or vanilla strawberry ice cream. Some people like beef. Some people like pork. Some people like green beans. Some people don't like vegetables. Some people like soup. This is absolutely the same thing. People like what they like. It's not a bloody business to meddle with it. I know I give you these quaint examples, these simple examples, but I'm trying to, like I said, before I made this video, I study it. here, and I recorded it all here in my mind. And I'm speaking with you, and I'm being absolutely honest. I'm not telling you you have to look. If you are a Christian, extremist, or a religious person that believes that oh, what gay people do, what transgender people do, or want to do, or whatever, is a sin, you have the right to think that way. What you do not have the right is to ostracize or bother people if they are different from you. You don't like them, well, don't associate with them. There are types of people. There are not genders. How am I going to say this? It's not ethnicity that I want to say. There are some certain types of people that I don't like. For example, I don't like people that spend their time drinking and smoking at cafes. Those people really annoy me. They disgust me. But do you think I go around cafes calling them sinners or doing some shit like that? No, I ignore them. If I go into the cafe and they are there, I completely ignore them. Just have my cafe. If there's a friend, we talk. Maybe we'll sit down and have a beer. But I don't give a fuck about those people. This is how you have to live your life. This is why Americans, when they come here to Europe, and they think, "Oh, Europeans, even the foreigners that live here in Europe, which is a vague concept, they are so rude." No, we are not rude. We are meddling our own bloody business, and so should you, because I don't give a crap if you had just come from Illinois or Arkansas or New York or Los Angeles or whatever, and you are very excited because you are in a town where you have to walk to go to places, and you have to ask for water if you want it. I don't give a crap about that. What I give a crap is that you don't meddle with our business. Do your own thing. As long as you follow the laws and you don't bother people, no one gives a crap if you're an American or not. And this is the truth. A very different thing from the United States, I might add. And you can see it right now with the brown shirts at the airport. Look, I'm going to end this video. It's almost an hour talking about these things, but I wanted to make this video. This is the first video I'm recording today, Saturday, and I'm going to post it. But what I want you to take away from this is this: don't fall into the rhetoric of the right wing. If you see things progressing, even if they are constantly, look, sometimes this happens. This has happened with almost any EU policy. They said, for example, we are going to increase the percentage of renewable energies in the EU, and we have to do it fast. Ever since this began, up until this moment, and I'm talking about Portugal, ever since this thing started, until the present moment, where we are at around 70% or more of total green energy produced, meaning 70% of the energy that is used in Portugal comes from renewable sources, because we don't have nuclear. Okay? Ever since this began, every year there is someone, "Oh, this is taking, we need to go back to oil, we need to reopen our oil burning energy refineries, we need to do this, we need to do that, we blah blah blah, and this and that," every single bloody year. Just like the lunatic in the White House grass complaining about the windmills. Every single year. The windmills are killing the birds. They are doing this, they are doing that. Come to the end of it, and the birds are not dumb enough to hit the windmills. And besides that, those windmills are built taking into account the migratory patterns of the bloody birds. Oh, you cannot stop the pollution in the beaches and in the rivers and in the lakes. Every year they talked about it. Right now, anyone that pollutes any industry or any business that pollutes a river or a sea or whatever is arrested or prosecuted. But they are still going to complain about something. You want to know why? Because it's the national sport to complain about something. But when that transforms into a way for these authoritarian movements to manipulate you, you want to know why APAC wants a weak Europe? Because they want to control you. They want to take away your rights. They want to transform you into peasants like the Americans that are paying for healthcare, they are paying for food, they are paying for bloody everything twice or three times or four times. Because it's not enough to pay taxes. You still were going to have to pay at the services. It's a service. They are customers. They are peasants. They are servants. They are not citizens. And I don't care if you come into the comment sections and say, no, that is not true. We are citizens and this and that. I will tell you this. If they can control you, you are not a citizen. If you cannot do what I just did yesterday and go on strike, they can control you. And I have been controlled in the past too. There have been situations in which I could not strike. And I felt like a bloody slave. I know the feeling, my friends. I understand it. Oh, I'm going to have to end this video. Folks, I hope you liked this video, or at least that you took away something from it. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm trying to make shorter videos. Perhaps centering my analysis on certain events or subjects. This is what I'm going to try to do. As I said, I'm also going to try to do some streams in the weekend, because during the week, look, I'm going to be honest with you, it's almost impossible for me. Okay, I work all day, and I'm thankful for it. And when I when I arrive at home, all I want to do is eat and rest. Because au contraire of what the Americans think, Europeans do work hard. Okay, we do work hard. We have our vacations. If all goes well, I'm going to have my mandatory vacations. Okay, but we also work hard. Now, folks, wherever you are, whoever you are, I want to personally thank you for listening to me. Your presence is important for me. You watching my videos is important for me. Please remember, this channel is not monetized. If it ever becomes monetized, you will be the first ones to be notified of it. I will tell you. And then, if that happens, I'm not counting on it. I'm not looking for it, to be honest. As I told you before, that it was not the intention of me starting this channel. So much so, sorry, that I do it in my off time, in my free time. Okay, but if that happens, you are going to be the first ones to know. Okay, and then you can question me about it. Question if the video that I'm doing doesn't have a predetermined purpose or whatever. As this stands, this is a channel that is trying to make people think, that is trying to make people get rid of their pre-made narratives that are constantly being spewed out by the media. They are constantly trying to make you a dumbass. They are constantly trying to manipulate you, and you should not allow anyone to do that to you. Be a citizen. Don't be a bloody slave. That's all I have to say. Folks, again, thank you very much, and